Hi, this is Sannyas Rao Parchaila. I am the CTO for Integrated Engineering Services. In short, it's IES. And you heard this morning our CEO talking about the 4 key service lines, which are our billion-dollar bets going forward. And IES is one among them. What we do as part of this IES, basically is we actually create products and technologies for our customers, right? And our customers, in turn, take them to the market, the end customers. That's the value chain that we are part of. While we call ourselves as integrated engineering services, what really, to make it very simple, what we do is we actually deliver ER&D services for multiple industry verticals, be it automotive, aerospace, telecom, health tech, high tech, and some more, right? But then instead of calling it as ER&D services, we call ourselves as IES only for a simple reason, as a reflection of the services we deliver, both on the traditional engineering or classical engineering services we deliver, and the digital engineering services, all under one roof. Hence, we call ourselves as IEF, right? So that's the background to IES and the vision where we want to go. Now, IES is not something new. We have been doing this ER&D services for the industry verticals for over 25 years now, right? And 25 years is a long time, right? And with time, we have evolved with respect to delivering end-to-end services, delivering mature solutions, and more importantly, we are also adding or creating more value to our customers. Let me give you some examples on the kind of projects that we have delivered, and then which are indicators of the project that we are going to deliver going forward. For example, let me take this example of an European automotive manufacturer, right? We've been working with them for more than a decade now, started engaging with them in engineering their active passive system, the brakes, the steering, and the drivetrain. Went on for a lot of time, right? Then we scaled, we gained experience, we gained capabilities, and today, as we speak, we actually have delivered complete vehicle integration for an SUV that is launched in India and APAC markets early this year. That's the complete ownership that we have taken and then successfully delivered. Now, coming to the value point of view, if you look at it, right? In the case of an aerospace, let's take the example of the customer that we are working with, a North American customer. Again, we started with designing their central fuselage, completely delivered, took the ownership, but that itself is a very complex project to be done outside of the own team that they have, right? Now, but then this is for a commercial aircraft, and a commercial aircraft is a complex machine, if I were to call it as, right? Lack of better word, because it has got what? About 1 million components tied together by maybe more than 4 million nuts. And more importantly, it is flying 30,000 feet above the ground. Now, what is important here is how do you ensure that the aircraft systems are monitored so that the safety of the passengers are taken care of. This is where we actually independently developed and delivered an aircraft health monitoring system built grounds up, which is, as we speak today again, about 200 aircrafts are actively managed with the platform that we have developed. So that is kind of the scale and the value that we are creating for the customers that we are engaged with. These are the existing customers. But that is not the end of the story. We are expanding, we are adding capabilities, and we are creating solutions, not on the domains that we are at home or comfortable, but then we are creating solutions today, even for something like a smartphone, right? 5G smartphone. 5G, as you know, is all big thing in telecom. And what we have done is work with a again, a device manufacturer in Europe, and completely engineered a 5G smartphone device, taking responsibility right from conceptualization to the build and operate. Now, when you say that a smartphone, what is there to operate? It's the user will operate. When I say operate, it's more in the context of the security updates you get and the Android updates that you get over a period of time, right? So we took ownership and they are delivering end-to-end solution for this. Now, again, as you know, when I talked about the complex aircraft system that I talked about, right? 5G device, for example, is an equally complex device, but in a different dimension. I just want to call it out, right? Because what you expect from a 5G smartphone device is that you would want it to work like a desktop, deliver gigabits of speed on one side, and then you also expect that the battery will last forever, right? And more important, and that's the expectation from the users. Like the other side is that unlike any other device that you engineer, smartphone comes with this unique challenge, is that when your conceptualization of the smartphone happens with the delivery timeline and the budget fixed. That's how it happens, right? You can't move the launch of a device even by a day, not acceptable. Similarly, you can't beat the price, the expected price in the market. So that comes with unique challenges. And I want to tell you that we have delivered not one, we actually have delivered 5 such devices to our customers. Now, and that is on the part of telecom. Imagine, extend it to any other vertical. For example, talk about electric vehicle. Again, you know that EV is the next big thing in automotive. Again, we are working with the Japanese manufacturer, developing for them a urban electric vehicle. What are we doing there? We actually take the ownership from styling all the way up to production, right? So we do chip to cloud, whatever called it, chip to cloud, style to operate, style to production is what we are delivering on a technology which is new, which is EV. So to reiterate, we have solutions we are delivering for the existing customer, existing technologies, and then we are now geared up for the future technologies as well. Now, if you ask me, how are we able to deliver such large and complex projects? As I said, we've been doing this for about 25 years now, and we have deep domain experience working with multiple verticals, leveraging the best practices, cross-leverage the best practices from one from the other. And more importantly, if you don't innovate in engineering, you don't live, right? That's the challenge. And that's what we do at best. The one thing that I want to call it out is that we have got about 250 patents in the engineering space, some created by on our own, some we have co-created with the customers that we are working with. And our engineering prowess are well recognized by the analysts. We are rated as leaders in the ER&D services that we provide across all the verticals that we operate. That's one thing. The other thing is that we also are recognized as leader for the depth of capabilities that we bring to the table. For example, we are the leader in 5G engineering, and we are also leader in software product development. That is the heritage that we have that we would want to capitalize. Now, what we have is what we have. What are we going to do? Where do we want to go? This is where, what we are trying to do, what we have been doing is to align the experiences that we have with the industry strengths. That is to make most of the massive opportunities that we see in 3 main verticals: automotive, industrial, and telecom. Now, why only these 3? Is because these are the 3 verticals that are most impacted, at least by the way that we see, with the technologies that are coming in. Take the case of automotive, for example, right? What is driving automotive today is pace, right? It is personalization, autonomous, connected, electrification. 4 technologies, right? Now, connected, I'll be surprised if there is any vehicle that is coming out which doesn't have a connected feature. But the question is about how many such connected features that each vehicle will bring. Autonomous, billions of dollars are being spent. And we actually have seen, at least in the Indian market, early adoption of L1 and L2 safety applications, ADAS, what we call it as. But then there is a lot more to come with respect to autonomous driving itself, right? Now, think about connected features, think about the autonomous driving that it supports. The car is no more a car, but it is a platform. It's a software platform. Reason, you will be able to deliver new experiences to the customer, but it also comes with it a lot of challenges. Anything that you think about as software, how do you upgrade it? What happens if something goes wrong? How do you do over-the-air upgrade? What if there is no connectivity? There are 300 problems to solve. That's the opportunity that we are saying that we will be able to address going forward. Manufacturing, again, the industry is looking at smart factories, again, driven by 3 or 4 major technologies, right? IoT, again, for condition-based monitoring. How do I avoid the downtime? Then it is all about how do I automate my operations? How do I use computer vision for automating my inspection? Is another way of looking at it. Or it's simply that how do I optimize my operations by using automated guided vehicles? There are a list of things. People are spending dollars. And just want to tell you whether these use cases can be implemented with 5G or Wi-Fi 6 is a different technological question. But there is a need, and people are ready to spend dollars in transforming their existing factories to smart factories. The other vertical is telecom. Again, is undergoing massive disruption. 5G as a technology is driving in one part, and then yesterday night I was talking to some of your guys. Is the Open RAN itself is shaking the way that the equipment is built for a period of time, right? And the third one, obviously, is that anything that is there in the central office is moving to cloud. These 3 technologies, again, are levers for growth. And while I say that these are the technologies that we are focusing, and there is a lot of opportunity, what are we doing to make good of the opportunity that we come across, right? We are doing 2 things. One, any new technology will take time, right? It requires an ecosystem to be built. It requires technologies to mature. And more importantly, it requires we as Tech Mahindra and the customers themselves have to know how best to use the technology, whether it meets my requirements. Towards that goal, what we are doing is we are investing in creating what we call the ecosystem labs or integration labs. Just to tell you, we announced setting up of a ORAN integration lab, partnering with a leading chipset vendor. The idea is to bring together the disaggregated RAN components and create an end-to-end solution. This lab is in works and then will be operational by mid of December. Similar way, we actually have upgraded our device certification labs in Seattle and Fremont to be ready to test and certify 5G devices. That's the kind of investments we are making to make sure that the ecosystem evolves. So what is our interest is to make sure that the technology matures faster and gets adopted faster. That's where we make our dollars, right? The other thing is that the other point that where we are focusing is on the IPs and solutions, right? In engineering, what we bring to the table is the creativity or innovation that we create with respect to IPs and the end-to-end solutions that we create to address a customer's need at a point, right? So towards that end, what we have done is that we created, for example, we created this Factory of Future lab in Bangalore, only focused on creating solutions for factory automation. That itself is one of the growth area that we have identified. Similarly, We recently have announced set up a lab, AIML lab in Shanghai, again focused on creating use cases for autonomous driving, again aligned to the technology vertical that we said that we are going to focus. Then, as I said, we are opening up the 5G device lab and the certification labs. While we talked about solutions now, the last one I want to touch upon is the IPs that we are creating. Again, I said the intellect of engineering lies in the IP that we create. So we are now have a bouquet of IPs that we have created to be, at least in the 5G, I can tell you the number, it's about 80 IPs that are in flight, 3 of them completed. Again, addressing the engineering requirements on the device side, on the network side, and in the 5G application side. So that's, we believe, is that the IPs, the solutions, and the focus that we have in the verticals is what would be taking us to a next $1 billion growth. Having said that, while we have the technology, we got the domain, what actually we are trying to deliver on the ground to our customers, right? Our definition, what we want to aspire for is to deliver complete lifecycle services, starting from the design. We continue to deliver what we are delivering best over the years, the classical engineering or traditional engineering. And we also want to deliver products integrating digital technologies. So design, classical engineering, and the digital engineering are the 3 operating levers for the kind of services that we want to deliver. Now, when I say design is multiple things, right? Design could be a mechanical design could be a chipset design could be a PCB, right? Whatever, right? So we have, in fact, to tell you that we actually have the complete set of offerings for any kind of design that is required for engineering, both physical, electronics, and software. And then on the traditional side, we continue to do embedded software. That's what bread and butter that we are doing over the years. Software product engineering, you heard, I showed you that we are rated the leader in software product engineering. And then the PLM, supply chain, and the manufacturing engineering is what we bring to the table. And not the last but not the least is the digital engineering. What we do is to build products which are, again, aligned with what we talked about, smart factories, for example, to integrate the AIML technologies and AR/VR into the products that we build. Now, all these solutions, end-to-end solutions requiring newer technologies would not happen out of blue, right? Because the customer is new. So they would look for, it requires us to work with the customer to understand what their pain points are. Would there be whether the problems can be solved with the technologies that we can bring to table, and then define a roadmap together. So that takes us to a next level of services that we offer, which is consulting. Just to tell you that the largest appliance manufacturer, we have got 24 factories. When they undertook the journey of smartifying their factories, we worked with them in the roadmap, created a 5-year roadmap to say that how to prioritize the modernization of the plants. And it's a journey, right? It's not one-time effort, we keep doing it. Now, so that's the portfolio of offerings. Now, if you really look at it, what we try to establish, what we are delivering today is what we call it as chip to cloud, right? Anything to do with your styling, your chip design or a board design, to any engineering that is required for your applications, either on-prem or on the cloud, is what we deliver. That's the complete comprehensive set of services that we bring to the table. And what we do, we have technologies, we have tools, we have services. What we finally want to offer to customers, we want to offer 3 things to the customer. One, we would want to continue supporting their existing service product, providing legacy engineering services. 2, we would want to develop next generation products, digital products. 3, we would help the customers to migrate some of these existing products by retrofitting them with the newer technologies. So these are the 3 key solution offerings is what would take us to the billion-dollar dream. That brings to the last slide that I wanted to present. Thanks for your time and patient hearing. Thank you.